All men were drafted to the army. Samuel kissed his wife and children goodbye and left to go to the Second World War. Just a couple of months ago, Birobidzhan was a small town nobody knew about. Now, it was one of the hopes of the entire country. As Hitler's army rapidly moved east, capturing one town after another, all the people of the western part of Russia, Belarus, and Ukraine tried to run east as quickly and as far away as possible. Overcrowded trains brought thousands of people into Birobidzhan every day. People were housed into residence houses and barracks by the dozens. Several families were housed in a one-room house, happy to simply have a roof over their heads. Sarah also shared her small log house with 3 other families. It was hard enough for 5 people to live in her small house, and it was impossible to imagine more people resigning there. But they did. During the day, adults worked, and only the small children occupied the house. At nighttime, the entire floor of the house was used as a big bed, where everybody slept. A few weeks after the beginning of the war, women started receiving death letters from the front about their husbands, fathers, brothers, or sons. The wording of these letters was the same. He died heroically in the war. And the grief of loved ones was the same too. They wept in hopelessness and misery. Every day, Sarah heard terrible news from different families. Though there was no news from Samuel or her siblings, Faga, Aaron, or Meir. Sarah lived in endless fear for their lives. Aaron was drafted as an aircraft mechanic into the Special Air Force. And it gave his family a privilege to be evacuated sooner. Anna arrived to the train station with her children and parents. Even though she had tickets and all the necessary paperwork, it was almost impossible to get on a train. The train station was a disaster. People wanted to get onto a train by any means. German planes circled the city, dropping bombs and randomly shooting civilians, and the train station was one of their main targets. The men pulled a submachine gun onto the roof of the train and fired into the sky. While passengers boarded the train, bombs exploded all around the station, causing widespread damage, killing numerous people, with mercy for no one. Every time a plane flew above their heads, a rain of bullets took down a number of people. They dropped dead while standing on the platform, stepping onto a train or already sitting in the train. People moved in different directions in panic, trying to get on the train or out. Some hid under the train and some ran for cover inside the train station. However, the building was already partially destroyed and couldn't shelter anymore. Anna tried to get on the train, pushing people with her elbows, holding Boris on her arm and Leah by her hand. "Follow me," she called her parents. She squeezed between passengers, little by little, and finally found herself standing between the compartments. She looked back and was not able to see her parents. The panicking crowd separated them. The submachine gun shooters managed to hit a German plane. The plane caught fire and fell to the ground beyond the city's boundaries. A massive explosion followed by a deafening rage sounded out from the crowd that witnessed the scene. The train suddenly jerked forward as people kept boarding it. Anna attempted to move closer to the door to see if her parents were still there, but people pushed her back, trying to get on the train at the last moment. She didn't know whether her parents got on the train, or if they were still alive at all. As the train moved farther from the station, the people in the train witnessed a terrifying panorama of the burning city they'd lived in all their lives, with German planes hovering above it. One of them chased the train, flying right above, and bullets rained from the sky like hail onto the people. The train stopped in the middle of a field. Nobody knew why. Either the train engineer was killed or the train was damaged. The people jumped off and ran away from the train in horror. Anna left her belongings on the train and ran with all the others to the nearest forest, holding Boris in one hand and Leah in the other. The plane disappeared from the sky and only the roar of its engine echoed behind the forest. Suddenly, Anna heard the sound of moving train again. She turned around and saw as everyone ran back to the moving train. The German plane was coming back too. Anna rushed back as she felt death right behind her. She had to get back. She had to make it. The plane flew above their heads. Anna looked up as the blank face of a German pilot aimed directly at the crowd that was running toward the train. The shower of bullets brought people down on the green grass, staining it bright red. The train was overcrowded and the people were hanging on the steps. Anna trusted her small baby boy to someone through the train window. The train increased the speed. She ran as fast as she could, pulling Leah behind. People hung on the steps, unable to get in. Anna couldn't even grab the bar. The plane came back again, and a flurry of bullets reduced the number of people still hanging on the steps. Running passengers were jumping over the dead or injured bodies, hoping to get a place on the train. And Anna was running among them. A car passed her, gaining speed. She had no chance of getting on it because those on the stairs blocked the entrance. Another car passed by much faster, and she had no luck to get in again. Suddenly, somebody grabbed Leah and pulled her inside the train through a window. Now, Anna was running with all the others who still didn't get into the train. If she didn't make it, she would lose her children. Who would take care of them? A lot of people had been left behind. Some of them were still running after the train. Some of them resting on the fresh green grass, looking at the clear blue sky with their motionless eyes, not knowing pain or worry anymore. Anna was running next to the last car. In a few seconds, it would be too late to get inside. She would never be able to reach it. She was desperate. She grabbed a man hanging on the last step and hung onto him. "Son of a," he yelled. "You're crazy." But he couldn't get rid of her. If he moved, they would both fall down. The train moved faster and faster. There was no way to jump down and no way to get in. Anna hung, holding on tightly to the man, and prayed. Finally, the passengers pushed their way in and Anna was able to get inside the train. It took her a couple of hours to find her children. The train ran non-stop for days before it suddenly stopped in the middle of a forest. The engineer relayed a message to the passengers that the engine was broken. It was the fall of 1941. The country was at war. Thousands of people had already died on the battlefields. The Germans occupied dozens of small towns and large cities. Who could think about a lost train with 2,000 or 3,000 people on it? In a couple of days, the train coffee shop ran out of food. The people gathered berries and mushrooms in the woods. But soon, they couldn't find any more. People started to starve. Children didn't play anymore. In several weeks, the first graves appeared along the railroad track. People started to die from starvation or hunger-related illnesses. Leah's feet were swollen due to hunger. She couldn't walk. She spent all day laid down, waiting for a moment when Anna gave her a small piece of dark bread, and it happened just once a day. Leah put it under her tongue and sucked on it for hours, being afraid to swallow because right after she swallowed it, the horrible feeling of starvation started to torture her again. Mom, do you remember that day, a couple of months ago, when Aunt Fega and Jane visited us? Yes. Darling, what about it? Jane threw away pieces of bread and you told her, don't do it, Jane. A day can come when a small piece of dark bread could be a matter of life or death. Yes. I remember that, sweetheart, Anna replied sadly. How did you know about it, Mama? Anna didn't answer, but simply cried, hugging her dying daughter. The situation was desperate and helpless. There was no food, and no mercy from men or heaven. Anna knew that soon she would either watch her children die or they would watch her die. She took some clothes from her bag, gave the last piece of bread to Leah and Boris, and kissed them goodbye. Leah, if I don't return, take care of your brother. Where are you going, Mama? I don't know. I'll try to get us some food. Anna left. She walked through the forest, hoping to meet people on the way. Anna was afraid to get lost, so she watched the sun, heading south all the time. She was starving and tired, and couldn't feel her feet anymore, but she didn't stop. She decided that if she died walking. Anna walked for a whole day, exhausted, and her body sore. Suddenly, she stepped onto a path. If there is a path, there must be people nearby. A hope gave her energy, and she took the path and walked a little faster. After a couple of minutes, Anna came out of the forest into a small village. She knocked on the door of the closest house. A woman came out. Anna almost dropped to her knees. Please, lady? I'm starving, my children are dying. Please help. I don't sell and don't exchange food for anything. The woman replied, I have only enough for my family. Anna looked very weak and miserable. Please, lady. I have some fine dress to exchange for food. She removed her silk dress from the bag and handed it to the woman, though she didn't show any interest. I don't have extra food. I have 2 small starving children. I beg you. Anna cried and noticed a hesitation on the woman's face. My husband's at war. The Germans occupied my town and burned it to the ground. Anna shed tears. Our train got stuck in the middle of a forest with a broken engine. There is no food and no water there. Nobody knows or cares about us. A lot of people died already. Please, I'm not asking you to give me food for free. I'm offering to exchange food for some clothes. They're good quality. And very expensive. The woman took the fine dress in her hands. She had never seen anything like that in her life. It was made in China from beautiful silk. It was so odd to see this village woman holding this light, soft cloth with her rough wrinkled hands. Yeah, it's fine and expensive, but a piece of dark bread is probably worth much more now. Is it not? Anna took off her jacket and handed it to the woman. Please, don't let my children die. She fell down on her knees, crying. Oh, Jesus. Put it back on. It's chilly. The woman went inside her house and, in a minute, came back with a bag filled with dark bread and sugar. This is all I can give you, and don't come back. I don't have extra food. The way back was even more difficult. Anna was too tired and disoriented. She wasn't sure if she walked in the right direction. Her feet were bruised, scratched, and in pain. She hadn't slept for more than 2 days already, but she couldn't let herself rest. She was afraid to be too late to find her children alive. Anna had lost sense of time and didn't really know how long she had been walking. The fear of finding her children dead pushed her ahead. Finally, she stepped onto the train tracks and soon found the stalled train. She made it. Anna fed her children and rested a bit. Then, she took another piece of clothing from her bag and headed back to the small village. After 2 months, the machinist had repaired the engine, and the train headed to Siberia, losing 2/3 of its passengers along the way.